Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu. Pakhair agale. Ni hao. Chune shumme. Washmale. Ohio gozaimasu. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifa hal? Hale shumma chatore. Ahlan wasal. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho. Gracias. Swabia. Balli kere aaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're watching World This Morning alongside my very fantastic, very amazing, the very intelligent, the very full of humor, Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. Hello, Shiza. How are you doing on a very fine Thursday morning over here in Islamabad?
Doing absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking. How have you been doing? So it's funny, actually, this time I just walked into work today, and for some reason, since last week, Shahzad and I have been doing the show on and off, but never together, right?
Yeah.
And Rajasab goes like, "Mujhe laga aap log akele kiya karenge." But no, we're back together. Of course, this is a ship that we both anchor together.
Yep.
So I'm happy to have you back. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling great as well. And for everybody who's out there who might be thinking, where did Shahzad go? So, I actually, this is a very interesting story, and I think that, I need to kind of share it with all our viewers as well. So, obviously, I've had alopecia over my head, and I was getting it treated, and then, we were very short of options. So, my dermatologist, Dr. Amna Osman, a wonderful lady.
Yes, the best actually here.
And she's always been looking after us as well. So, what happened was that she was like, hey, you know what, we have got this new treatment going on, Regeneva. This is what the name of the treatment is. Very expensive though. And she was like, you know what, so we would actually want you to come on board with us because we're going to introduce it. And then, it's nothing, it's just like PRP, and you'll be done in an hour's time. And I was like, okay, if it's that simple, let me go, so that's perfect, because people usually they have to go for PRP again and again.
Yeah.
So this was like, if you get it done now, so after 2 years time, you actually have to go back and get it done again.
Impressive.
So I was like, okay, interesting, if whatever hair I've left on my head, if I can save them, let's save them. So it's for that. So I went over there, but when the treatment started, I never thought that, okay, that this is how it's going to turn out. So there was I don't know whether I should say it in the morning, but it was a little painful, not that much. So I was like, okay, you know what? I actually texted Shiza and my entire team, Hasnan and Jamshed sir, and I was like, hey, you know what? I didn't expect this treatment to be this way. So, I think I'll have to take a day off. So I took a day off, slept, and, I slept till like 5 in the evening.
Oh, that's
missed out
nice.
on my Zuhur prayer as well and my Fajr prayer as well, which I was very sad about. But then eventually, I'm glad that, my team looked after. And thank you very much, Shiza, for kind of anchoring the ship once again.
For managing before that too. But we really hope that you're doing good, because of course, I feel like together we can make World This Morning what it is, right?
Yes, my spirits are high, your spirits are high. I guess Hasnan's spirits are high today as well.
Hasnan is doing a great job today too. But how lovely is the weather over here for 2 to 3 days now, actually.
Exactly.
I feel like, all right, I am so happy to declare this, not even announce, but to declare that we are entering into winter, because autumn has officially started.
Yeah, thank God.
Fall season is here. But the thing is, the better part of it is the low levels of humidity, because I feel like no matter what the amount of heat is going to be, humidity is what really bothers you to exist. Yeah, I mean, it's just so annoying. So for all the people out there who especially live in areas that are most affected by humidity, like Multan or like Lahore or like so many others, Karachi for that matter, it's going to get better, inshallah, and I hope and pray that it actually gets safer and better for all of us.
Exactly, and I think I've got something to add onto it as well, and that is that, for the last month when I was going to the gym and I was working out, I was like, hey, you know what, I think that, I really need to get my lungs tested, because there might be a problem, because I was so short of breath.
Yeah.
And then I eventually realized that after these rains, when I went to the gym, I was like, hey, you know what, I can breathe perfectly well. So it was the humidity which was actually not letting us work out to the extent we used to. But Alhamdulillah, we're thankful to Allah Almighty that we're blessed with so many seasons away in Pakistan. And today even, the weather's lovely. While I was driving towards work, I just felt great.
I know, it was so lovely. And just speaking about this, it sort of makes me realize how frustrating it can be if you're not able to perform something or do something that you want to, but there are certain things keeping you back. So just a small example, actually we've spoken about this before, so I'm going to share with the audiences out there. So there was this one time I was unfortunately stuck for a lot of hours at the Istanbul airport.
Yeah.
And Shahzad, the people were not at all cooperative in a way that even if I would beg them to please like speak in English with me, and they knew English, they just wouldn't comply. And I didn't have any Wi-Fi connection. I didn't have nothing to open a translation app or something. That was the moment I felt like, I mean, my communication is compromised. My abilities to actually exist among those people is compromised just because of the fact that we don't speak the same language.
Exactly.
It's just, I mean, it's frustrating, isn't it?
I do get, you know, where you're taking it, and, you know, that's the direction where we want to go as well. But I have a similar story to share where, you know, even I was stuck at the Istanbul airport. You know, I was traveling to England. I had a connecting flight. And no matter what you said to them, they won't reply to you.
They're so mean.
So, you know, they kind of treated you like aliens. You'll be like, hey, you know what? You guys need to stay over there till the time your flight is announced. Nobody's supposed to go outside and nobody's supposed to come inside as well. And we're like, hey, you know what? What's happening? And they won't reply you because they cannot speak the language. And I think even if they did know how to speak the language, they chose not to.
They chose not to. That was the thing.
Don't do that.
Well, I know it's so annoying, but I feel like we should actually now talk about what we are talking about today. We're not going to make a lot of noise telling you what we're talking about, but I'm sure you'll get that.
All right. So first things first, you know, ladies and gentlemen, today is World Sign Language Day.
For the deaf, yes, we learned that, and I really hope we didn't offend anyone out there. Today happens to be the 23rd of September, like we did already say. United Nations declared this day, dedicated this entire day to be observed as the day for sign languages for the people who have a hearing disability. Not even disabilities, I want to say, you know, there are different levels or they fall on different spectra. Some might not be completely impaired of hearing, some may have a little difficulty, some may over a period of age, you know, improve as well. So today we are actually talking about all those people who fall in this category and all of those people who fall outside this category, so that we can all come together and make them realize that there is no categories. We are all inclusive in a world that we have to exist together in, right?
Exactly, and that's the direction forward as well, ladies and gentlemen, because speaking about people who have hearing impairment or who probably cannot even hear, you know, that the total population of those people is somewhat around 70 million all over the world. And 80% of them actually lived in developed countries as well. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, just like, you know, we have our linguistic identity or our, you know, or our cultural diversity kind of allows us to speak Punjabi, Urdu, Pashto, or there are 72 different languages. Why can't we give them that status of having a linguistic identity is something which we require. And there's a reason. Because, you know, when we're going to give them the access to early learning, and that too even with sign language, obviously we are going to equip them with a lot of education, which they truly deserve. Not just education, obviously a skill set which they can use for their economical independence as well. And then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, for all of these people, we kind of need to think, because they are just the way we are the members of society, even they are as well. So we actually have a small report. Go ahead, take a look at this, and then once you guys are going to come back, we will be in conversation with all of these people. Not just that, even a person who actually kind of heads schools for girls who actually have hearing impairment as well, and how it's taking place is something which we really need to talk and take inspiration from, or draw inspiration from. So go ahead, take a look at this report.
The International Day of Sign Language is an unique opportunity to support and protect the linguistic identity and cultural diversity of all deaf people and other sign language users. The theme of this year, declared by the World Federation of the Deaf, is We Sign for Human Rights, highlighting how each of us, deaf and hearing people around the world, can work together, hand in hand, to promote the recognition of our right to use sign languages in all areas of life. Sign languages are fully fledged natural languages, structurally distinct from spoken languages. There is also an international sign language, which is used by deaf people in international meetings and informally when traveling and socializing. It is considered a pidgin form of sign language that is not as complex as natural sign languages and has a limited lexicon. The resolution establishing the day acknowledges that early access to sign language and services in sign language, including quality education available in sign language, is vital to the growth and development of the deaf individual and critical to the achievement of the internationally agreed development goals. It recognizes the importance of preserving sign languages as part of linguistic and cultural diversity.
Well, and the theme for this year, Shahzad, happens to be We Sign for Human Rights.
Yep.
And actually the federation that did declare this theme for this year sort of had the concept of how we need to bring everyone together. It's actually, Shazad, I feel like the theme in words is, of course, sort of official this year, but the concept of just making all these meetings and everything is the same every year, which is to bring all these people on the same page, not to make feel anyone excluded. And, well, the task that I'm giving myself today is to at least learn a bit of the sign language so that I can have a language to share with the people that, that know that language.
Exactly.
So I think I'm going to do that. And without any further ado, I request you to please introduce them.
Exactly. And just very quickly, before I introduce our guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think that, we really need to kind of ponder upon it as well. And it is because of the fact that, just like Shiza said, that, hey, what, we really need to have those basic highs and hellos so that we can actually communicate, or if we come across a person who's had a hearing impairment as well. Because, this is something which I felt guilty of today. I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to accept it. That, we say our hellos and highs in like more than 20, 25 languages, but we've missed out on it. So I think I'm going to make a pledge to myself and to you too as well, that we kind of learn, because we have an opportunity today. We have an interpreter over here who's actually going to, on this World International Sign Language Day, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make sure that you understand the entire program. So without any further ado, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the co-founder of Abekao. He happens to be a child of deaf adult as well. So his mother tongue, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be sign language as well. He is Mr. Sheikh Jawasab. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam, morning.
Thank you very much for joining us, and wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
Jazakallah. And alongside Sheikh Jawasab, ladies and gentlemen, on this day, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a speech therapist. She happens to be a certified sign language interpreter, and she's great with whatever we have to talk about today. I think she's got tons of knowledge, and that's something which we wanted to share with you guys, not just by audio, but with sign language as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're lucky that we've actually been joined by Ms. Sumbul Noreen. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
I am Sumbul Noreen and teacher of deaf people.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Very
It's an honor
nice.
to have you over here. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful. Adab, adab. So we have
Thank
this as
you.
well. I've learned this. I'm going to kind of try to kind of pick up with whatever sign languages I can, or the signs I can pick up with.
Let's do
But
that.
towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman truly is doing a wonderful job, and it's because of the fact that he's actually heading the secondary school of special education for hearing impaired girls, Rawalpindi, and he happens to be Mr. Sayyid Adil Abbasab. He happens to be an educationist as well, and I guess you're the principal too as well. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much. I have an honor to here with you for special people, especially deaf people, hearing impaired people. Thank you very much for
It's our
inviting,
pleasure.
giving me this opportunity.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much, sir,
Sheikh.
for joining us. Wonderful to have you. So I think we're going to get the conversation started with Sumbul,
Okay.
because Sumbul is here. So Sumbul is actually going to let us know how important is this day, what should be the significance of this day, and how do you think, or how is Pakistan progressing in terms of the education for people who have hearing impairment or any other disability going forward?
So basically, government of Pakistan is working for
Sign
special children and disabled children as well.
Yeah.
Deaf people basically they are very good. They have different kind of abilities. They are getting education even at university level, at college level, at schools level, and basically sign language is basic mode of communication. Even if we do talk, as Miss has discussed with us, she is stuck at somewhere due to a communication barrier. So if we do feel difficulty at somewhere with deaf people, or they feel difficulty in our general community, so we should celebrate and give importance to sign language.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
wonderful, and which is why we gathered today over here as well. So moving on to Sheikh Jawasab. So Sheikh Jawasab, you happen to be the co-founder of Abekao as well,
Yes.
which is your own initiative. But I want to kind of talk about, while you were growing up, your mother tongue obviously happens to be sign language. You happen to be a child of deaf adult as well. It must have been difficult. Was it difficult? Please share your challenges while you were growing up. How did you learn sign language in the first place? And then how was it for you when you went outside? Do you think that there was a stigma within the society? The kids didn't kind of accept you, or, were there other challenges as well?
Okay. Starting with the sign language, 80% of my family members are deaf,
Okay.
including my parents. So we used to communicate sign language all the time at home. But still, I studied in hearing school.
Wow.
And at home, we'll use a sign language communication, and in school, we'll use a verbal communication.
Okay.
And honestly speaking, there is no challenges at home. Sign language is very beautiful.
Yeah.
Of
It's very
course.
beautiful and
Yeah,
very
and we're
interesting.
going to get into that as well.
And the funny thing is, I also used to taught sign language at my class fellows in school
Wow.
because it could be
nice.
helpful during exam sheeting.
And can you use sign language while you talk to us as well, because we want
It's a very
people to.
challenging thing.
Okay.
It is
Oh,
very
Okay.
few people can do it, but honestly, it is a very challenging thing.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Learning from my father. My father is running a business of his own, tailoring business.
Mashallah.
And what I learned from it all staff are deaf. We only employ deaf. And I also work for the rights of deaf community and deaf youth since past 11 years. And what I learned, the majority of the deaf community facing unemployment issues
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the corporate sectors and other organizations, if they hire deaf youth for the job, the only challenge that they face is the communication failure, because they don't know if they employ deaf community in their organization, how will they communicate.
Okay.
Even they have no idea how will they communicate their roles and responsibilities to the deaf community.
Okay.
This is where we come with the idea of initiating an Abekau. Abekau is a fast food chain business, but our aim is to create employment opportunities for the deaf.
Wow.
Brilliant.
And it not only create employment opportunity, it bridges the gap of communication barriers.
Exactly.
Because our international sign language takes not about one day. We daily sign language takes our every day, because our team members communicate with the customers.
True.
And our customers place their order in sign language.
Wow.
Very nice.
I mean, so how do you? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I just got excited. So how do you kind of, make your customers learn the sign language so that they can actually order? So how do you
you
say
have
I want a
posters?
cheeseburger?
Yeah, there is a menu, and
Okay.
all the menus are built with a sign.
Okay, so they
design.
point out.
And if the customer sees the menu, and they will learn about how to communicate with the sign, and they will communicate the menu in sign language to our team members.
Wow.
And there is one interesting thing: sign language is totally linked with the culture,
Exactly.
Yes.
and you will surprised to know that everyone knows sign language. Even you know sign language.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Because you know about your
Okay.
culture and you know sign language.
fit.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. What about this thing? You know
Yeah.
about this menu?
Yeah. Khana khana.
Khana. You
I
know about
need
it.
to
And
eat
it is
food.
the
Yeah.
sign language of eating food.
Pani, basic signs are associated with the different things.
Wow.
So there are visible different bit signs they can see and they can communicate in.
Oh, that's
sign
wonderful. So one small thing on a very lighter note. So these are the signs which we know. Khana bana hai, pani pina hai, or
Cooking,
probably.
cooking,
Yeah, I
cooking,
need to cook.
mopping,
Obviously.
Oh.
even
med-
fashion, color day, like Monday start with M, basic signs like basic alphabet, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday with
Thursday?
signs with the
Thursday is
bagging, like, and Friday offer,
Friday, obviously.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
and Saturday with associated with the
Budmat.
Budmat,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and Sunday chutti.
Oh, that's-
Oh,
off day.
nice.
Okay.
I like that.
That's wonderful. But I have a question for Sheikh Saab. So Sheikh Saab, obviously we're talking about linguistic identity, and obviously Pakistan sign language is different from the internationally. How do we call it? Internationally represented sign language as well. What I want to ask is, because this is where we kind of identify that okay, this is our culture. Just like our mothers used to tell us while we were growing up, "Ithe aa tenu dasni aa, putter tenu chaped pain aali hai." Things like that. I'm going to slap you hard. How do you say that in sign language? Did your mother actually kind of come across you and be like, "Sheikh Jawad, idhar aao zara, tumhe maar padegi abhi."
He is
Okay.
saying-
You want me to express in sign language?
Yeah.
इसके बाद इधर आओ तुम्हें मार पड़ेगी. Okay, my sign language name is like this.
Okay.
Because everyone has their own name in sign language. So
Okay.
this is my sign name Jawad.
Yeah.
And Jawad इधर आओ. मार पड़ेगी. This is how
associated with-
And then you must
It's
be
a
running
joke.
away.
It's
You're
a
like,
joke.
okay, I need to go away from here.
It's associated with like a slap, like
Adara.
basic signs. So the deaf people associated with the like looks. As I am working with the deaf community,
Yeah.
they have my sign like I have a hairstyle over here. So if they call me,
They like-
yeah,
Oh,
Okay,
that's
that's
actually
a sign
very
of-
brilliant.
Yeah.
Teacher.
if they are happy, so they do like
Yes.
And that's so super, and
if
it's so
Sai
expressive.
said,
Yeah, I think
It's
sad
okay,
everybody
that's
can get
different,
anyway.
yeah.
क्या हो गया बच्चे कोई नहीं कोई tension ना.
But you know, Shazad, what the good part is that the government now in different districts and probably all provinces as well has definitely set up such institutions
Exactly.
where children with different needs or special needs can actually come and receive their education because it is a basic human right. Humanity does not discriminate, you know, where you come from, what kind of abilities you have. So this is one of the rights that everyone needs, and Syed Adil Abbas Saab over here has been actually serving in this sector for quite a while. Sir, I want you to first of all explain to us, when did this all start? Government institutions for children with special
Government
needs?
institution, when we say in Pakistan, there is an era of special education.
Okay.
The era of 77 to 78, 88.
Okay.
The era of General Muhammad Ziaul Haq,
Zia,
late. Her daughter Zain Zia was basically special child.
Right.
So he focused on the special education in Pakistan. I think he was the pioneer in the field of special education. In the Punjab, in 2004, a Ministry of Special Education established by the Chaudhry Parvez Ilai, now is working as a speaker, our Punjab Assembly, and our ministry is now we having a every tehsil level we have a special education centers for 4 disabilities:
Okay.
hearing impaired, blinds, visually impaired,
Visually
mentally challenged,
Okay.
and physically handicapped.
And these are compulsory.
These are compulsory
Oh,
in
wow.
And it's free
every
education.
tehsil. They are giving free education, free uniform, free, scholarships to special students, and free speech therapy facility, vocational training, other medical treatment, and many pick and drop service inside the route. So we are appealing the whole community of the world, especially in Pakistan, these people are able, these people are not disabled, they are people with different abilities. Almighty Allah gave them different abilities. If they don't have hearing, they don't have vision, but they have we can say they have a basirat, not
Yes.
basarat. So I will appeal to all the parents who have special kids, who have special any kind of special daughters, sons or daughters, they admit their child in the schools.
And sir,
You
I
know
will
what
even
I-
request
yeah.
you to say it in Urdu because you know we want this message to go out to a greater population. तो उर्दू में भी एक दफा सब वालिदैन से आप रिक्वेस्ट
Request
करें
करें।
मैं
इधर देख के
तमाम वालिदैन से गुजारिश करूंगा जिनके बच्चे किसी भी किस्म की माजूरी का या महरूमी का शिकार है,
वो चारों
तो
बताएं भी
चाहे वो गूंगे बहरे बच्चे हैं, चाहे वो महरूम समात हैं, महरूम बसारत हैं, ज़हनी तौर पर पसमानदा बच्चे हैं, जिस्मानी तौर पर पसमानदा बच्चे हैं, वो अपने बच्चों को हमारे पंजाब के स्पेशल एजुकेशन सेंटर्स में दाखिल करवाएं। हमारे जितने भी अदारे हैं सब के सब जो पंजाब की सारी तहसील में इस वक्त हमारे सेंटर्स काम कर रहे हैं। आलमोस्ट 387 इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं। डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर हमारे हाई स्कूल्स हैं, हर डिसेबिलिटी का अलग स्कूल है, और हम लोग जो है वो उनको क्वालिटी एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं। हमारे पास ऑल द स्टाफ जो है वो पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन से जो है वो क्वालिफाइड है, मास्टर्स इन स्पेशल एजुकेशन है, और मेरी ये अपील है कि अपने बच्चों को इन स्कूलों में दाखिल करवाएं ताकि ये बच्चे जो है माशरे का मुफीद शहरी बन सकें। रिहेबिलिटेशन, बहुत सारी फैसिलिटीज़ पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ने इस हवाले से जितनी फैसिलिटीज़ दी हैं शायद ही किसी और प्रोविंस ने दी हों। हम लोग फ्री एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं, फ्री मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हैं, फ्री पिक एंड ड्रॉप सर्विस दे रहे हैं, यूनिफॉर्म दे रहे हैं, एनुअली 3 to 4 यूनिफॉर्म्स हर बच्चे को देते हैं। इसके अलावा उनका मेडिकल जो एग्जामिनेशन करवाते हैं, उसके अलावा उनको हेयरिंग एड्स, जो ब्लाइंड बच्चे हैं, हमारे हॉस्टलाइट्स जो स्कूल्स हैं उनमें फ्री उनको फूड जो है वो दिया जाता है, और उसके अलावा जो साइकोलॉजिकल असेसमेंट उनकी की जाती है। हमारे हर इंस्टीट्यूशन के अंदर साइकोलॉजिस्ट है, बाकायदा प्रोफेशनली ट्रेंड साइकोलॉजिस्ट है जो साइकोलॉजिकल असेसमेंट करती है, गाइडेंस काउंसलिंग की सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करती है। सो आई विल वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू to
and a big round of applause for Punjab government as well, and you know, and I think that you know all the other provincial governments kind of need to follow the footsteps of Punjab government.
Absolutely, and I think we have to really mention over here and take a moment to actually appreciate all the people, like all of you, but especially you both, because you have dedicated your lives, educating these people, training them for the real world outside, and it is amazing. Can I tell you the kind of impact that you both might have left on their lives? I don't think we can even put it in words. So, which is amazing. But Shahzad, it also makes me think that when we talk about the youth bulge of Pakistan, and we're so proud to talk about it because we're looking at a brilliant future, inshallah, that particular youth is, well, they are all different from each other. They're all unique in their own form. Can you say that all 100% of them are same or fall on the same spectrum? No. There may be so many of them with different needs or special needs. So how can you make sure to actually bring those particular children who might belong to the rural or downtrodden segments to schools, out of school children, because their parents are probably the issue sometimes. They're not willing to send their special children to school. And by special, I mean with different needs, abilities.
Basically, there are different kind of issues deaf people are facing. Even there are success stories as well, like
Yes.
Mr. Jawad is he is sitting in front of us, and mashallah he is the success story. He is even running his own business, as well as he is running his own organization for adult deaf. There are many other success stories as well. I have a colleague, she is deaf, and she can communicate, and she even share her problems with us,
Okay.
even her domestic issues, even her and she is her husband is deaf even.
Okay.
They both she is cousin of Mr. Jawad, and her husband is deaf as well. They both are working. She is working in government organization, and her husband is working in a private organization as a
Mashallah.
computer operator, and they both are earning. So we are giving message to the community, give them friendly environment, barrier free, talk with them in their own natural language, associate, even try to understand them. We
Yes.
could understand them easily.
Yes, of course, I'm sure.
Yeah, as well as ये बच्चे बहुत सारी और भी डिफरेंट एबिलिटीज़ के साथ होते हैं. अल्लाह ताला ने अगर इनकी एक सलाहियत से महरूम किया तो उसके साथ साथ और बहुत सारी मुख्तलिफ सलाहियत से भी नवाजा है.
Compensate
इसी
करके,
तरह से
बिल्कुल.
अगर आप देखें कि हेयरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट है, एक हेयरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट है, उसके बाद ये
Can we
होता है
say
कि
it in
उनका
You
yes, I
yeah,
can.
please go ahead.
Yes, please.
So Allah Ta'ala has blessed them with different abilities. Like if they are hearing impaired, we could treat them even with we could provide them aid. So speech therapy services, as well as sign language. Even the mode of teaching is basically the sign language, total communication.
Exactly.
Okay.
Total communication is associated with our expression, with sign language. Even they
Gestures.
gestures.
And you know what, we are actually going to come back to this as well. We have to go head out towards a short break, but very quickly I think that technology has played a very vital and pivotal role as well, because earlier there was no conference calling or there was no
Yeah.
video chatting. So obviously Sheikh Saab, I don't know whether you're married or not. Are you married?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, wonderful. So,
Alhamdulillah.
I will actually take you back to that time where you weren't married. ठीक है? So obviously, when you have to communicate via sign language, and you're in university or you're in school and you liked someone, was it difficult for you to kind of communicate it to them, and how do we say it? So if I have to say it, please correct me if I'm wrong. I love you. That's what you say, right?
Okay, the most shortcut way is like it is hell.
I
Oh,
And then when you move forward, they love you.
I love you.
sweet.
Contractions
But that's
used in
great,
the
but
sign language.
Shortcut.
These
But
are
that's not
contractions.
what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, did you propose to your wife?
No, I can't propose my wife. Yeah, I share to my family members that I like someone, and my family members
That's
go
so
to
nice.
our family members and send a proposal, and it got accepted.
Well, that's wonderful. But over here in Pakistan, most of the time we kind of talk about a husband and wife relationship and how, we kind of make jokes about it. I don't know whether people like it or not.
I
But
don't.
on a very lighter note, I think, this is one thing which brings smiles on almost everybody's face. Look at your faces as well. Everyone's smiling. So when you have an argument with your wife, or your wife has an argument with you, how do you do that? So for example, if you're like, I love you, that's the sign. So, if you're actually not kind of in the mood of talking to her, are you like, yeah, something like that? How would you say
Do
that?
you
That, hey,
fight?
you know what, I need my space right now.
It depends on the level of argument.
But show us that
Okay,
sign. How
but
would
if
you
the
communicate
argument
it?
is light, I can easily say like this.
Yeah.
But if the argument is very high and I felt ashamed, then I touched
Text
her.
That this should have happened. But
Wow.
with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
obviously, it's wonderful to see how these very specially able human beings are living a life which is truly not dependent on anyone as well, and they're making sure that they're going to smile every single day and that they will have every facility at their fingertips as well. This is something which we need to talk about. We need to talk about the syllabus of all of those children going to all of these schools. Sir talked about as well. And because we have single national curriculum, how the single national curriculum have actually been kind of brought to all of these people or to all of those schools where we're talking about 4 different senses if you are impaired, from them how to kind of learn and be equal to everybody out there. And we always talk about inclusive society, and for a society to be inclusive, I think it's us who need to understand they know what they're doing and they're in the right direction.
Well, right now we're heading to a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all those important things that Shahzad did mention. Stay tuned. Good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching World This Morning, and today happens to be Sign Language Day for the, I was going to say visually impaired, but I think the right word is deaf, of course, with any sort of hearing impairment.
Right.
Well, before...
sign language.
Yes, we're learning. But before we did go out on a short break, we discussed technology and how I think it has actually assisted all of us in any walk of life, or coming from anywhere. And it reminded me of 2 gentlemen who have been on the show so many times. This time we couldn't get in touch with them, Vamik and Shabbar. I hope you guys are watching. So they actually came together and built this app called Deaf Talk. Both of them are super unique and special. Vamik actually has a hearing impairment, and Shabbar is visually impaired.
And one of them went abroad to study
Both
as well.
of them, yes. And now even Shahzad, can you believe that Deaf Talk is actually competing in another international competition where they're getting a grant to actually expand the app? So very quickly, to let you know, because how technology is assisting everyone, on this app, they have installed a sort of a two-way communication that they're helpers. So for any person who needs to know sign language or communicate with someone, or for example, if a person with a hearing impairment were to go to the pharmacy and the other person didn't know how to communicate with them, they would open the app, talk to the person on the app who's the mediator, and then they will do the job for them. How amazing is that? This is just one example of how technology has definitely assisted us in all arenas.
Yep.
But now I want to move on over here to, all the things that we did want to talk about. Sir, I think you are better to talk about how we are making sure to incorporate inclusivity in the single national curriculum first of all. And then when we talk about the curriculum for these special children, what does that include? Is SNC going to be implied there?
Term.
Sorry?
When we say curriculum, it's mean all planned activities which bring the positive change in the learner's behavior. That should be inside the institution or outside the institution. So inside the institution, syllabus,
Integration
curricular
between
activities, co-curricular activities are also important for deaf. Because when we give them confidence, we give them regular visits, and exposure for the community who are talking, exposure for the students who are learning. So there is a special need curriculum for special students, like hearing impaired students. We select the single national curriculum, we take the topics from there and contents and then modify it for the according to the need of special students. Then there is also differentiation of curriculum in the if we have a mild level of hearing loss and we have a good hearing aids, because as you are saying that technology is not now developing in these days, we have a digital hearing aid, computerized, who can assess the environment, and according to the environment you can use the sounds as well. So as we say that language is a tool of communication for them. So we use special teaching methodology, like Sumbal is saying that we are using total communication method for teaching them. We are using so many charts, audiovisual aids, and multimedia. Through these things we can express a lot of things, and their exposure is nowadays very much capable. They are now very much capable, like Sheikh Jawasab.
Mashallah. And sir, kind of adding on to that, I think that this information needs to go out there as well, because what I was wondering was that, for mothers it's easy to understand what their baby is trying to say or what their kid is trying to say, and because till the age of 3 or 4, they still cannot communicate.
We have a guidance class in our schools for the mothers.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
We have a guidance class. We said to the parents, mothers and fathers, monthly base guidance class in our institution. They come and learn the sign language.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Wow.
If mother know the sign language, he or she will communicate very much better than other mothers.
Exactly, that's wonderful. That was one point. But the second point was that, how old do you think a boy or a girl needs to be to kind of get admission into this special school as well?
I think 4 years is a age for the admission.
All right.
But before the 4, we use language and guidance class.
Wow, that's wonderful.
That is
So guidance
absolutely
class,
amazing.
ladies and gentlemen, is for the parents. So what you need to do is that you really need to go to the school, learn that language, so that obviously everybody around you is speaking the same language, or communicating via the same sign language as well, which I believe is very important. But now coming back to you, Sheikh Saab, so you've obviously, alhamdulillah, living a wonderful, healthy life, alhamdulillah, and your family is very supportive. You have your name, they kind of communicate with you. It's wonderful. Now you have your own business, alhamdulillah. Sorry, but what happened is that there was this time when I went to Lahore, and there are these special takeaway franchises of a very amazing burger franchise, and they actually hire people who have any hearing impairment or probably visually disabled, or stuff like that. Now they kind of hire all of those people because this is a part of their corporate social responsibility. Alhamdulillah, you're amongst one of those people who have really kind of struggled hard, made sure that they're going to have their own business, and now alhamdulillah you're going to open up more avenues for people who kind of went through the same challenges you went across as well. So how was it for you in the first place to set up your own business, then run it successfully, and now are you going to give more opportunities to people who have the same challenges as you do?
Yes. If we talk about the challenges at the time of starting our business, some of the customers, not majority, a few customers ask us why you employ the deaf community. You can employ Aryan how to communicate, because they didn't have any idea how to place an order in sign language and blah blah. But it has been 2 years, and we had a very great opportunity, great experience, and we started from employing one deaf, and now we are total team members of 13 deaf youth
Wow.
Wow.
And looking forward, we really look forward to expand our Abekao nationwide and to create more employment opportunities for the deaf. And one interesting thing is that the current unit, they are not operating based on our dependency on us. We train our team member enough that they are operating the unit independently.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
This is what we aim to empower deaf youth in Pakistan.
And I think this is the most, well, perfect and the most practical example for people out there to learn from. This is how, I mean, of course, while he did start his own business as well, he is integrating into the society and sort of including all his peers and fellows with it as well, and making them individually independent. Like he said, all of them individually can run the entire unit.
Yeah.
Right? That's absolutely amazing. We actually thought of a movie. I
Yep.
didn't. My team did. I'm not very good
In
at
fact,
it.
our guest did.
Yes, he did. It's called Coda. It's actually about what we're talking about. Let's go take a look at the trailer. Maybe for all these cinema lovers out there, you will get a better insight of how the life of these people may be and how you can be a part of their lives.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
I've been coaching for Berkeley College of Music. I can help you get a scholarship.
I want to do this.
There are plenty of pretty voices with nothing to say. Do you have something to say?
You will be required to have a hearing individual on board at all times.
I can't stay with you for the rest of my life. I've never done anything without my family before. All that I need.
All right, ladies and
This is so
gentlemen, so that was the
heartwarming.
trailer from the film Coda. It is obviously heartwarming as well, and you know, if you have people in your household as well who actually are or have hearing impairment, you can share this film with them as well. And it's obviously going to be heartwarming and overwhelming for them as well, because they're going to enjoy this same experience. But towards the end, we're only left with 3 minutes here, so I'm going to start with you. Obviously, you know, we have spoken about technological integration, you know, within the syllabi as well, within the curriculum. You've made us understand it very wonderfully as well, what curriculum is. This was for the very first time that I've actually heard the definition of curriculum.
I know.
Yeah, but now what I kind of want to know is, because obviously Pakistan has its own distinctive sign language, which is obviously not lesser than whatever we speak. And how do you think, recognize that sign language? How do we make sure that all of Pakistanis are communicating with the same sign language? Because there are over 300 sign languages all over the world.
I will say that language is change according to the culture, norms and values of the society. So there is a standard sign language in Pakistan which is developing by the Deaf Reach. We call it PSL, Pakistan Sign Language.
Yes.
They have books, they have websites, they develop almost 1,000 signs for the special persons who can communicate through sign language, standard sign language.
Yeah.
So we are, as a teacher, are using in our institution PSL, Pakistan Sign Language.
And that is standard everywhere in Pakistan.
That is standard.
Okay.
Wow, that's wonderful. What do you have to share about PSL?
PSL is basically like we use in English grammatical structure, sentence structure. Similarly, Pakistan Sign Language is basically developed thousands published sign, which is associated with as a standard sign.
Okay.
So while teaching to deaf people, we use standard signs following the grammatical structure, sentence structure, and the other things.
Just one thing very quick. You did say that we have the language and the alphabets available on the website. Can you tell where we can go for all the
what are the
those
websites?
interested to learn?
Yes, PSL is a
Is the website?
www.psl.
Well, it's going to take us to the cricket wali website. Now.
It's application as well, PSL Pakistan Sign Language. We can
PakistanSignLanguage.com.
download it from Play Store as well.
Oh,
The
brilliant.
the parents who are facing issues while communicating with their deaf children, they can download and they can learn from there as well.
Yeah, and they can even
Very
download
nice.
Deaf Talk as well,
Yeah.
which is going to definitely make their life simpler. We're coming down to you. What do you have to say? What are your suggestions? Please go ahead, because we're going to wrap up with that as well.
Okay, sign language.
Yes.
There is one thing I want to clarify about the importance of sign language among the deaf community. Majority of people in our society think sign language is only for the deaf community, but it is not. It is for all of us.
Exactly.
What will you do if you want to communicate to a person who is standing far away? Obviously, you will sign.
Yeah.
For that, sign is a means of communication. But for the deaf community, sign language is a cultural identity. We cannot separate sign language from the deaf community.
Exactly. And you know, even in our day-to-day lives, we kind of have to use it as well. But thank you very much, Sheikh Saab, for being with us. Thank you very much, Sumbul, for joining us. You know, you definitely did share quite a lot of useful content for people, you know, who might have been looking for solutions as well. And Adil Abbas Saab, you've definitely made the entire Pakistanis proud, because the kind of services you're providing to all of those families, I think that they are not short of prayers for you as well, and for all of us as well. But for everybody who's out there, this is the most amazing part. You know, imagine that we kind of speak sign language every single day. You know, imagine we go to a restaurant, you know, and the waiter's not looking at you, and you do not want to shout, so you kind of wave your hand, hey, can we have you over here? You know, there's different stuff. And you know, then you know, there's a friend of yours, you do not want to share it with your friend, you know, probably, or you want to share something with your other friend, you'll be like, okay, you know, don't tell him, you know, I just want to kind of talk to you as well. But on this day, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is a message which I want to put forward as well. I hope that I'm correct with it as well. So please go ahead. We welcome you all. Yes, happy.
Yes.
Deaf people to kind of communicate on this International Sign Language Day. That's what the message is.
Thank you so much. And the message is actually for all of those people out there to you know, who do have a sort of hearing impairment, to go and get all the facilities or education and everything that is out there. And I want to actually advocate for this one for all the people watching in the Twin Cities right now. It's called the Government Secondary School of Special Education for Hearing Impaired Girls, Rawalpindi, and you can find Sir over there as well. The very brilliant man. So please do check out this space as well.
Exactly, and please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning,
on Twitter,
Well This Morning without a G,
on Dailymotion and YouTube,
Well This Morning everywhere.
and the fabulous repeat is going to be at
midnight.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the news desk we have Mr. Farooq and Ms. Saina Khattak waiting for the latest updates to share with you guys all as well. So I think it's about time that we say goodbye. So on 1, 2, 3, good morning.
Take
Bye-bye.